Hey guys, Drak here, and I'm back from vacation. I look maybe a little tan, but well, you can't really take the geek out of a geek now, can you? I'm still kind of pale as a ghost, but I'm back from vacation, and funniest thing, a bunch of things happened while I was out on vacation. So we had Demon Hunter's launch. So those who have pre-ordered Legion can now play the Demon Hunter starting experience. You just can't go much farther. Like get your artifact or anything like that until those quests unlock. I think it pretty much puts you post Broken Shore, and that's where it leaves you. But the Broken Shore is now available, so people can get their mains up to par. And I think every week they're going to unlock another section of that quest to make sure that it's up and working and everybody's done it. And then when Legion launches, you can go and get your artifact, kind of thing. So a lot of things have happened. One Night in Karazhan has launched as of last week, and we will be doing a Drak tries of that because a lot of people have been asking. And also, thank you guys so much to the brand new subscribers that have checked out my content and given me a subscribe and liked a couple of the videos that I've done. I really do appreciate it, and thank you guys so much for recommending it if that's how they came here. Because I tried to look for reasons, I didn't see any, but thanks so much. You're getting me just one step closer to 100 subscribers. And again, if I hit 100 subscribers, you will get an Ask Me Anything live stream, and I will try and get a couple of my fellow YouTubers and fellow geeks to come and join the parade or join the party if they're able to. So, but that's not what you guys are here. So not only did I get the update, but we also had a bunch of cutscenes now officially in the game. So a lot of people might have noticed when I did the Broken Shore quests and the Demon Hunter quests, there were videos that were supposed to explain the transitions. And instead you got like a big thing saying there's going to be a rad cinematic here, and that was it. Because that's how beta works. But now those cinematics are in. So we have the Demon Hunter cinematics, which is kind of a disappointment to, like, I'm going to go into my thoughts here, but, because people wanted to know what I thought of them. I'm a little disappointed, because when they were at Gamescom and later BlizzCon, they were talking about the Demon Hunter starting experience actually starting in Black Temple, and actually being able to meet these fellow Demon Hunters that you're working with, maybe even get a little bit more backstory on them, and being able to actually see the process of becoming a Demon Hunter. And especially when, if people haven't read the novel Illidan by William King, they do describe it, and it's awesome. And it would have been great if it gotten a cinematic for it, but unfortunately we didn't. They instead decided to basically give us an opening cutscene that shows us going to Mardoom, and then starts off where my Demon Hunter experience video started. You start off on Mardoom, and you work your way where you need to be, and you start at level 98. And I'm not saying that it is disappointing. I really wanted to have that Black Temple training experience. One of the things that made the Death Knight starting zone so cool is your first quest was given to you by the freaking Lich King. You were working for the Lich King. And so at that point, that adds a whole new experience to it. And I would have really liked it if we'd gotten... I'm not saying that I needed an opening narration, but to literally stand before Illidan and say, I want to become a Demon Hunter. And then you go through some training, and you then go through the ritual, the process of becoming a Demon Hunter. And for those who don't know the lore, you basically will take down a demon and consume it in order to gain its fell energy. And because of the horrible, horrible visions that you would see when you would consume this demon, that's how all Demon Hunters are blind. They actually gouge out their own eyes to stop seeing the visions of the Legion conquering numerous worlds and burning them asunder as they go. And so that would have been a really cool cutscene to have, and we didn't get that. So I'm a little disappointed by it. And then the transition from Mardoom to the Vault of the Wardens. I don't have a problem with that, except for one. Both cinematics for the Demon Hunters are told from a first-person perspective. I'm not really keen on that, because to me, first-person kind of detaches me from the experience. It doesn't really feel like it's me going through it. I get it that you didn't want to randomly generate cutscenes, but here's the thing. You didn't actually have to have my character in there. You still could have done things from a first-person perspective, but instead have the characters tell the story instead of just having Maiev talking to me. kind of thing. That's where I kind of got frustrated with it, is that I like the fact that at the end, Maiev throws you your glaives, and now you're badass again. But in the beginning one, where you're talking to Illidan, we didn't need to have us like running through the portal. All we had to do was have kind of that charging call, and then we know where we're at. We're at Mardoom, and we know what we need to do. It's kind of a 50-50 for me. I'm disappointed because I'll admit, I wanted to get some kind of a narration for the Demon Hunters. I think one of the biggest defining experiences is listening to that opening narration for a Death Knight, and we don't get that here. So that was a little disappointing, but I believe the last time I heard the guy who did the narration voices has either retired or passed away or something like that, so they couldn't bring him in. The next big cinematics that we had was the Broken Shore. So people will remember, we got to a certain point in the Broken Shore, and boom! Rad cinematic. Now, first of all, we got a prologue one, which basically is nothing special. It's the Tomb of Sargeras, with a big green light coming out of the sky, or going into the sky, and showing the problems that are here. But the one that everybody's talking about is the ending cinematics. So, and again, I'm kind of 50-50. It's great, but I'm disappointed in a way. Let's go into the cutscene itself. So you get it from both a Horde and an Alliance perspective, and the Alliance one follows Varian and Gen, and the Horde one follows Sylvanas. So basically, the difference is, like, when you do the Horde version, it's pretty much the same cutscene, except for Sylvanas escapes onto a Horde warship, and you see her kind of go off in the distance and look back and see what she's gone through, kind of thing. But the rest of the cinematic pretty much plays out the way you would think. And again, depending on where you're positioned. So you'll actually see, like, Horde casualties on that hill, and see, like, Thrall falling, and I think Bane was down too, and so then they announced the retreat, kind of thing. And from the Alliance perspective, you actually see the Horde archers leave, so that's immediately taken as a betrayal. Instead, they're basically just getting overwhelmed on their end too. But then it's basically announced, we need to get out of here. And so Varian has Mechatork kind of announce a retreat, as well as Gen, and they start getting on their airship, and Gul'dan's not having any of that shit. So he summons down basically a new or an empowered Fel Reaver, and that was cool. That was cool. That was basically calling back to Burning Crusade and that Fel Reaver that we all so feared, until that one day when we could 5-man up and kill it. So we got an empowered version of the Fel Reaver, and we got to see Varian just be badass and take it down. That was great, to be able to see his sword just slam into it, and all the cracks just going down as the sword slid down the Fel Reaver. That was great. And that made Varian just a badass character as far as I was concerned. And even better was kind of a tie back to the opening cinematic, or the opening cinematic that we've seen. He hands the letter that he was writing to Anduin to Gen, because he knows he isn't making it back. And in fact, this is the way that a character should die, especially in this case. And in fact, it kind of saddens me that Tyrion doesn't get this too, because Tyrion should have gotten this. He's had many badass moments in WoW, and the way that he kind of gets taken down is he's a prisoner and he just gets blown away, kind of thing. But Varian basically takes down as many demons as he can, and then gets impaled, gets to have that moment in front of Gul'dan, and I thought it was even better that he had that nice little touch of for the Alliance, and then through Fel energy, Gul'dan just destroys it. Okay? I will admit, I shed a tear. That's saying something, because people who've known me a long time, I didn't like Varian. I didn't when he was first introduced. I thought he was emo king, up and down. I knew his backstory, that he had been torn apart, and one part of him went to be a gladiator in Orgrimmar, and he'd come across Thrall, and through Thrall being in the stands, and then immediately made an assumption on who Thrall was. I didn't like Varian. In fact, it took until Mists of Pandaria to make me like Varian as king. Not just King of Stormwind, King of the Alliance. And I love the fact that at that point he was listening to his son. I've since read the novels Wolfheart, and I believe there was some of the development not only in War Crimes, but also in Storm Rage, where you actually got to see him become a little bit more patient and learn from what Anduin was trying to teach him. And that's the best way to be able to explain it. So it took till Mists of Pandaria for me to like Varian, and the fact that I knew he was going to die, I immediately was praying, he's got to die in an epic fashion. You know what? He did. He absolutely did, for the freaking Alliance. Now let's get to the Horde version of it, because the Horde got an additional cinematic. Because people will remember when I did the Horde version of the Broken Shore, there was additional scenes where we actually went back to Gromash Hold and we see a dying Vol'jin on his throne, and everybody trying to reassure him the war effort's going to happen, we're going to take down the Legion, and he's just saying, yeah, that's exactly what we need to do. We need to bolster our forces, we need to get the people behind us. And then the scene transitions into a cinematic as soon as Sylvanas walks in. And we got a really touching scene of Vol'jin on his deathbed and Fel just oozing out of his wound and saying, I don't want to do this. You have given me no reason to do this, Sylvanas. I don't trust you. But the Loa are telling me I have to. The Loa are telling me you are the choice. You are the one who can lead us through this dark time. Dude, I'm a Dark Lady fan just from that concept, because I thought it was so well done to say, it's time, Windrunner, you need to step out of the shadows and be War Chief. That was a touching moment to see from Vol'jin. And it makes me really sad that he's not War Chief now, but it reaffirms why Sylvanas is. It's not by choice. It's the Loa have told Vol'jin, this is how it has to be. If you want to win, you need her. Now, I still have my doubts, because we still have that one scene in Stormheim that hasn't been explained yet. The one that basically makes it look like she's brokered a deal with Helia. And at this point, from what we can tell, Helia's the bad guy. Or a bad guy. So at that point, Sylvanas still isn't very trustworthy, but you at least understand Vol'jin's reasoning off of that. Especially if you, for those who don't understand the Loa and things like that, Loa is very central to Vol'jin's character. I would recommend that you look into either Noble's Story of Vol'jin, or you go and read the book Vol'jin Shadows of the Horde, because that explains troll culture as well as him being a shadow hunter and how powerful that is in troll culture. And so at that point, if you understand that, then Vol'jin's not making a decision. He's making a sacrifice, mainly because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He knows exactly that he's throwing the Horde essentially into chaos in order to beat the Legion, and hoping that Sylvanas will not try to take over the world or anything. So I thought that was very touching. Here's where I'm disappointed, though. That was such a great scene. Why didn't we have that on the Alliance end? And in particular, so people will remember from the Broken Shore Alliance experience, we go and deliver the letter to Anduin. And we get to have all of the leaders of the Alliance kind of come up to Anduin's throne and discuss the problems and the fact that we need to stand together, except one, and that would be Jaina Proudmoore. Jaina is not trusting of the Demon Hunters. Jaina is not trusting of the Horde. Especially considering the image that they got, which was the archers basically leaving them to die. So at that point, this would have been a really great cutscene to have Anduin versus Jaina. To actually have that argument, have Anduin stand up to Jaina, and maybe even have the other leader, like the whole cutscene, play out that way. But it didn't. It's in-game. And so that's why I'm a little disappointed. The Horde got something awesome, and it feels like the Alliance got shafted. I don't know if it's just because they wanted to have Varian be the moment of badassery for the Alliance, but it feels, at least to me, that takes away from that moment. It would have been great to have that as an actual cutscene, to have Anduin, who has looked at Jaina as a mother figure. You know, he doesn't have his mom. His mom died very early on in his life. There was a point in Vanilla WoW where he was the boy king of Stormwind because Varian was missing. Anduin's had a hard life, and so at that point, for him to stand up to his mother figure, this woman who's basically been there for him when his dad couldn't be. That's powerful, especially from Jaina's perspective, because that's one of those things that we're seeing as an internal conflict for Jaina. Jaina is not trusting of the Horde. We actually see later on that she's not trusting of the Kirin Tor. That would have actually been a really great moment to see the emotions on Jaina's face and see that maybe her way of thinking isn't the way that she should be going. And so I think it actually detracts from the whole process. Nothing against Blizzard, but it's one of those things I would really like to see fixed in this. Like, make a cutscene for this. Or even if you have patch plans later for something similar to this, then great. But it really does feel like the Alliance got shafted a little bit. Yeah, we got the Epic Broken Sword, but so did the Horde. And then the Horde got an additional cutscene that was even better, trying to explain why Sylvanas was War Chief. And instead, we're kind of left with questions. We don't know if we know Anduin's King of Stormwind, but we don't know if he's King of the Alliance. We don't know if the High King title has been handed. And this would have been a great cutscene to be able to show that. So that's going to go ahead and wrap up this vlog. But yes, I've seen the cutscenes. There's my viewpoint. They look good. There's just a few of them that I'm a little disappointed with. They could have done a little bit more with the Demon Hunter starting experience. And aside from that, great way to launch off Legion, and we have plenty more in store because we're going to go into the story before Legion even starts. So that's going to go ahead and wrap things up for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time for the next bit of whatever content I'm taking on.